All right, DC, back to you in 2019. You hold a lot of power, I believe, as the UFC heavyweight champion. At some point, they're going to come to you and say, what do you want to do, DC? What will you tell them?
You know, as Dana said Saturday, the Lesnar thing's still out there. That's a fun fight. And, you know, I've gotten a lot of, DC is very vocal about Jon Jones, but he's willing to fight Brock Lesnar. No one knows what Brock Lesnar and I have going on in terms of drug testing. The drug testing for Brock could be so stringent that it would be insane. It would be as big as it's ever been. But nobody knows that but the people on the absolute inside. So if he was to make it through all that stuff and got to a fight, then it would be worth it. But if he didn't, then I would fight Stipe Miocic, 100%. Stipe's a very respectful guy, longest reigning heavyweight champ of all time, or most defenses in heavyweight championship history, respectful, does things the right way. And I made a promise to him. I said if I didn't fight Brock, I would fight him. And I intend to honor that.
What do you think when people bring it up to Jon? Hey, would you want to go to heavyweight and fight DC? Like, do you feel like that in any way is disrespectful? Because heavyweight has viable contenders, and I would think that he just wouldn't jump to the number one guy.
I just think that those guys deserve to fight for the belt. But, you know, there are just a lot of things that are going on in terms of all of these fights. And when everything's laid out and everything's done, then the public will be made aware. But, yeah, there are a lot of moving parts. You know, guys want to fight, and guys want to be the heavyweight champ. The vast majority of them do, you know. And, you know, I'm just lucky enough to be the guy that's holding that belt right now.
So a lot of people have tried, and nobody has succeeded in defeating Jon Jones. Why are you the man to do it?
Because I think that I'm probably the only one that really believes that I can. To be fair, I think that Jon Jones has an aura about him that he just almost seemed for a long time like he was unbeatable. And I just believe in my skills, and I believe in what I can do. And I think that I'm the only legitimate threat. I think that I have I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. My wrestling is good, and I have the power to shut anybody off at any point in time with either hand. And I think it's been a while since Jon has fought someone like that. You know, obviously Gustafsson has the power in his hands, but he also lacks the ability to stay safe off his back. And, you know, I think that you can't have that big of a hole against someone like Jon Jones. And I really believe that my mentality over everything else, you know, obviously Jon is a fantastic fighter. He's a fantastic athlete and probably one of the smartest fighters to step in the octagon. I just believe that my mindset and my physical abilities, I match up with him physically, and other than Gustafsson, I don't think anyone else in the division does. I just think that I have the package. I really do.
I agree with everything you just said, but I think that DC should fight him again because, unfortunately, in the history books, it will show that Jon Jones beat him twice. Now, I want DC because DC is a great person. He's been a massive ambassador for this sport. He's done incredible things, and he's a great person. So I want him to get that big fight with Brock Lesnar, fight Brock Lesnar, get a massive payday, and then he should fight Jon Jones and retire. He's talking about retiring next year anyway. He's talking about retiring by March, his 40th birthday. But he could do one more fight. And I think he should fight Jon Jones again because, A, it will be massive, probably bigger. Well, to hardcore fans, for sure, bigger than him versus Brock Lesnar. And if he was to beat him, you know, you're right. It does give Jon the opportunity to beat him a third time. But it also gives DC the opportunity to beat him and beat him clean. You know, so, and there's a big storyline there. And I think DC, I'm looking at it from not a fan's perspective, from DC's perspective. He'll never forgive himself if he doesn't take that fight. When he's old, he's like, fuck, I should have taken that third fight. I should have fucking taken it. DC's a fighter. DC is not a quitter. You don't become the level of fighter, wrestler, person that he is unless you're willing to take on big challenges. And this is a big challenge. And you're right, it does give Jon Jones, you know, that upper hand and whatever. But I still think the opportunity for DC to go out there and beat him and get it back and get that victory over him and say, you know what, fuck you. See, I was better than you all along. And now that you're clean, I proved it to everybody. So for that reason, I think he should take it.
What's up, everybody? You right, champ. All this back and forth Twitter bullshit really ain't me. So you know what? I'm gonna put it all to rest right here. I have a bout agreement signed with your name on it. You the only one who haven't signed on that dotted line. It doesn't matter. March 2nd, I'm fighting for the UFC welterweight title, period. Now, if you don't want to step up and defend the belt, I'll whoop Covington's ass. But March 2nd, somebody's gonna catch this fade. So focus all that energy into the gym, and I'll see you March 2nd, champ.
You know, one thing you said was you were a bad matchup for Max, which I expect any top contender to believe. How do you deal with an opponent like Max who can make those adjustments in the middle of a fight?
Yeah, well, yeah, mate. I got a lot of respect for Max Holloway. You know, obviously I'm calling him out because he's a champion. But at the same time, I really do think I'm a bad matchup for him. And what you're saying is true. But at the same time, I believe I'm that well-rounded where, like, the same goes for me. If I'm struggling somewhere, I can throw so many different other tools. You know, I can focus more on other areas. I could strike with the best strikers in the division. I can wrestle with the best wrestlers in the division. I can grapple with the best grapplers in the division. I guarantee you that. But the one thing I really do good is put it all together. And if I have to lean towards certain aspects more, I can always do that. You know, so I just believe that. I just think, obviously, against someone like him, you know, my wrestling's going to play a big factor. And I just believe that he hasn't really faced a high-level wrestler yet, and I think that's definitely his next challenge. A lot of people are saying, you know, he's wiped out the division, you know, what's next for him? Take out a wrestler, and I honestly believe he can say he's one of the best featherweights to ever do it. But I think, you know, there's me or Frankie, I think he needs to do that one more obstacle. No disrespect to him, but hopefully it's me.
Thoughts on Rachel Ostovich, stuff like, did you think the fight was going to get canceled?
Yeah, oh my gosh, the chaos behind this fight. Well, first, you know, she accepted the fight, I accepted the fight, the UFC sent me the contract, and my arm wasn't even cleared. So I'm telling the UFC, like, do you still want me to sign this fight contract? I haven't been cleared to fight. I haven't been cleared to, like, start training yet. So they're like, yeah, go ahead and sign it. I was like, okay.
Just so the listeners know, because your arm was broke in your last fight.
Yeah. So, yeah, my arm hasn't been cleared yet because I had to go through 2 surgeries. So the first one, my arm failed.
What do you mean your arm failed?
So they went and put a plate in and, like, put a big titanium plate. And it was supposed to only take 6 to 8 weeks to heal. And 6 months later, my arm was still broken. So
was it from the doctor or?
No, they have no idea. My body just rejected it. So went in, then I got a much more intensive surgery where they took like platelets and a bone graft from my hip and filled the crack and then put a much bigger plate. Jesus. It's like the whole size of my arm. Yeah. So it's like an extensive surgery. So it took a long time to heal. And this second surgery was only like 5 months ago.
Damn.
So I was able to get back into it relatively quickly. Kept my cardio good, kept training and doing everything I could. So I was just more nervous that the fight wouldn't happen because I wouldn't get cleared. And then finally I do get cleared. And then she pulls out because of family issues. Yeah. And then it was chaos. And then all of a sudden, we're talking to the UFC. They're lining up a new opponent. We had a ton of options. And
That's stressful.
And then her management team's like, wait, she might be back in. And
Such a badass.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So then I heard she's back in. So the fight's still on. So
I'm hoping that Dana White changes his tune because he said in the post-fight presser that he doesn't see a reason to do a
no rematch. Is so stupid. That's so stupid. How do you say something like that? I'm sorry. Like, how do you have a woman who hasn't lost in 10 years and she loses in a minute to Amanda, but then you don't want to give her the rematch? It's like, why would that be? I don't get it. I mean, I don't know what else what other plan of action there would be. It's not like there's a plethora of 145ers knocking on the door, and even 135 with Amanda continuing to be the champion. She's already beat the who's of the 135-pound division. So I think the only fight that makes sense is to do a trilogy, and I think that would be so exciting. The fact that we were able to see Cyborg humanized, you know what I mean? Like she's just another woman. She's not Cyborg, and it's not a bad thing, actually. I think it's a really good thing for Cyborg's career because people can kind of get back behind the idea that she's not this machine. Like she could lose, I think, coming back off of a loss. I think the way she handled her loss was extremely classy. I mean, I think this actually helps Cyborg's brand.